What foods seem completely fine until you realize how it's actually made?
Imitation crab. It's fish paste with eggs, a bunch of additives and colorings. Which makes sense. The weird part is watching the two colors of extruded paste get stretched out and wrapped around each other, like fish taffy.
Hot dog of the sea.
When I was growing up, my grandma used to make this amazing apple salad dessert thing. I loved it growing up. One year I wanted to make it for myself as an adult and I asked her the recipe. Turns out it was just apples, mayo and sugar.
Reminds me of my grandpa's sweet and sour meatballs. It's meatballs mixed in a sauce that's made with only ketchup and GRP jelly. It's oddly really good.
Yeah, I've made that a bunch also. But instead of ketchup it's Heinz chili sauce. My wife's aunt made a mushroom soup that she had me try, supposed to be super healthy and tasty. I tried it, it was okay, and then she showed me the mushrooms. F-king caterpillars that had cordyceps. I'll see y'all later as patient 0. Edit, here a pic of the little buggers, link.
Why would she do that? I just googled this and I don't understand. For curious folk like me. Click at your own risk. Mild NSFW, link.
Yeah, the one with the matchstick for size reference. As for why, the in-laws are Asian and my mill is terminal, so they're trying out anything to help, including $600 handful of cordyceps caterpillars. And yes, I said it was ridiculous to pay that much for zombie bugs. Haven't been able to enjoy a meal since.
As a baker, puff pastry. Not because it's gross or something, it's just a long, involved process that can break you if you let it.
I've made it once. Took hours because if it started to warm up I would refrigerate it again. Now I just buy it. The difference between homemade and raw store-bought is negligible with everything I tend to add to it, around it. Not worth the 3-ish hours it took. Foie gras. My culinary school took me to a foie gras farm. Even though it's tasty I don't eat it anymore.
The squirrel bits an iguana on a stick. Man oh man, my hands were shaken asterisk.
+2, rads.
Scrapple.
Pennsylvanians in shambles.
A lot of people enjoy shark fin soup and maybe some don't realize what the fishermen do to get the fins. Look up video if you want, but they bring the shark on board, cut off all the fins, and chuck it back still alive to writhe and float and suffer.
The crazy thing is that it offers zero nutritional value whatsoever. It's like a status thing.
Squid in terms of how they're caught.
How are they caught?
Ever hear of Kazumartsu cheese?
The cheese made creamy by the little maggots eating it and pooping it out again.
Lol, that's the one.
In Poland we have a dish that's called flaki, which literally means guts. It's a soup made of cow stomach. Many people don't want to even think about it, but I think it's delicious.
Oh, so a bit like menudo in Mexican cooking. Trippers, intestines washed and emptied, soup stock, herbs and spices and hominy. Really tasty, but the intestines part. Count me out.
I live in Korea and they eat live octopus here.
What makes this worse is there's increasing knowledge on the subject to say that octopus are capable of feeling despair after being injured. They have a mind similar to that of a dog.
Korea food culture has been affected heavily by a history of food shortages, so often they don't consider things like that, at least not the older generations. I was scared to click this post.
Same, surprisingly just more of a list of unusual foods of processed things.
Reminds me of that video of Jamie Oliver showing kids how chicken nuggets were made, and after showing them all the kids still wanted to eat them after. His reaction is priceless. Edit better link.
Those kids taught him a valuable lesson.
Not that I would eat it anyways, but that goose duck egg that is cooked with a live chick inside, obviously the chick dies.
Balut.
Slurm.
Also poplars. Veal is pretty effed up.
I saw a veal farm at age 16 and have never touched it. Seeing those cute little calves chained to little igloo houses for their entire short lives really made me sad.
Kopi Luwak or weasel coffee. It is pretty much coffee. However, instead of using coffee beans that were harvested in more common ways, like handpicking, Kopi Luwak uses coffee beans that were defecated by palm civets. Located in Indonesia, these weasel-like mammals consume coffee cherries as part of their diets and, through some very complex processes during digestion, they ferment the coffee cherries and thus defecate a coffee bean of peculiar flavors. Not only is this utterly terrifying, but unfortunately due to the demand and craze around it, producers are caging civets and force-feeding them countless amounts of cherries, basically ruining their diets and lives. I had it once, and after knowing how it was made I had to rush to the nearest restroom. It ruined coffee for me for a few years. Edit. Holy cow, thank you all for the comments. I'm learning so much from you.
Nestle.
R.F. Nestle.
I was surprised to learn from people who've worked on farms just how bloody harvesting crops is. There's not really a good way to clear out wild animals, so all of them get ripped to shreds by the heavy machinery moving through the fields. I miss being able to assume no animals died making my produce.
Having farmed for years, most animals run, dig from the big loud machinery if it makes you feel any better. It's usually small pests such as mice and gophers, not antelope or birds.
While off-putting, I see no problems with some of the scraps we eat. It's perfectly fine to me that I'm eating the scraps of chicken in chicken nuggets. Gelatin from bones and ligaments. The reject pieces of animal being used to make so many great foods or items. People want to say the natives had the right idea, using every part of the animal. But suddenly turning around to say eating black pudding is disgusting? I feel better knowing that we used every ounce of that cow. The cow didn't die in vain. The cow was used for milk, once done with that stage sold for meat. The meat market sells the bones for dog bones, gelatin, beef stock, literally anything else. Nothing goes to waste. Don't get me wrong, the treatment from cow to meat and then the food waste alone is problematic, but that's not what the thread is about. We use every part of every item. Excuse me, I have nuggets in the oven that are ready.
If we're going to kill for food, we mustn't waste a lick. I love Worcestershire sauce, but seeing it made is kinda gross. Edit. Didn't expect this to blow up, but since it did, I strongly recommend putting Worcestershire sauce on scrambled eggs. Changed my life. Edit 2. Cook the eggs first, then top it with Worcestershire. If you mix in Worcestershire with the eggs as they cook, you lose a lot of flavor.
Hold up. What is it made from? Black pudding is a common breakfast food, but kinda messed up when you think about how it's made.
What's black pudding?
It's basically pig's blood, some fats and oats. Traditionally served as part of a full breakfast. Foie gras, and #X200B. Edit. I did not expect this to blow up as much as it did. Sincerely thank you for the upvotes and the awards. I'm also glad to see this spark such an elaborate discussion.
Ethical foie gras is basically a myth. The dish is produced by force-feeding the ducks, geese to intentionally give them a fatal fatty liver disease. Then harvesting the fatty liver, foie gras, when the bird is near death. As their livers become nearly ripe for harvesting, the liver can no longer function, causing toxin buildup in their blood. The birds often struggle to walk, and wind up lying in a pool of their own vomit and poo. The fattened birds also are overheated, panting as they struggle to cool down. Their feathers are matted, sores are common. They spend most of their time in tiny cages, unable to move. Their esophagus becomes covered in scar tissue, due to the feeding tube. There's one dude in Spain who sells natural foie gras that doesn't require feeding tubes, instead relying on the bird's natural desire to plump up for the winter. Link.
I honestly don't care how something is made as long as it's safe to eat and tastes good. For instance, I don't care that chicken nuggets are made from scraps because they are safe and taste good. In fact, I think it's great that they have found ways to use the parts people normally don't like and have turned them into something many people enjoy. It would be a huge waste to throw it all out and have to make nuggets from all white meat. We'd need way more chicken farms and the prices would be a lot higher. I feel the same when people complain about Wendy's using the patties that were on the heater past the time they allow in the chili. It's still perfectly safe to eat, just dry, which is why putting it in chili makes perfect sense. It still tastes good, is safe, and they found a way to reduce waste, which I'm all for.
In school, back when they made lunches at school, you always knew Chili Day was after Hamburger Day.
Gummy bears, or just gummies in general. Took me 19 years to find out that the way they're made is with pig carcasses and bones.
Lol. That's why Jell-O isn't vegetarian.
Thank you for watching. We upload new videos every day, so be sure to come back for more fun. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the video.